The human explorer ship Solace 9 moved slowly to the dark and empty side of the galaxy. Commander Aaron Hale sat in the pilot seat, watching the stars slide past like silver dust. He was alone on this long mission, but he never minded loneliness. Silence helped him think. Silence helped him see things others ignored. But today, the silence broke. A weak, broken signal jumped onto his screen. It wasn't loud. It wasn't clear. It sounded like a dying breath. "Help us, anyone, please." Aaron froze. His fingers stopped above the controls. For a moment, he thought it was just space noise, a random echo, maybe an old beacon from a dead ship. But then the message repeated again, shaking with fear. "Help us, please." His ship AI, Luma, responded in her calm voice. Unknown origin, unknown language pattern, unknown species. Signal strength extremely low. Attempting translation. Aaron leaned closer. There was something inside that voice. Something desperate. Something small and weak. Something that felt afraid. His radar displayed a single planet far ahead. A dry, silent world floating in the dark. No ships nearby. No colonies. No trade lanes. Total isolation. Luma continued. "Commander, I must warn you. There are no official records of any species living on that planet. No civilizations. No travel routes. Long-range history files show all alien ships avoid that area." Aaron raised an eyebrow. "Avoid? Why?" "Unknown reason. The region is labeled Hazard Zone Delta. Most travelers pass quickly through it. No one stays. No one explores." Aaron watched the radar. A few alien cargo ships flew near the region, but none turned toward the planet. In fact, one ship scanned the signal, hesitated, and then immediately changed direction. Another ship accelerated away as if scared. Nobody wanted to go near that world. And yet, someone on that silent world was calling for help. Aaron felt the weight of the message. "Help us." The voice wasn't angry. It wasn't hostile. It sounded like a child crying inside a storm. His heart pulled in one direction, toward the planet. But Luma spoke again. "Commander, entering this region may be dangerous. Many ships refuse to travel here. Some reports mention disappearances. I recommend caution." Aaron breathed slowly. "But someone is still alive down there." "Possibly," Luma replied. "But the signal could be a trap. It could be bait. It could be a warning from an old event. We don't have enough data." Aaron stared at the planet. A dead-looking sphere with faint clouds, ancient scars on its surface, and a strange darkness covering half of it. Something felt wrong. Something felt heavy. But something also felt important. He closed his eyes for a second. He remembered the human space motto he learned as a young explorer. If someone calls for help, humans answer, even if others turn away, even if danger waits, even if the whole galaxy stays silent. Aaron opened his eyes. Set course for the planet. Luma hesitated. "Confirm? This action is not recommended." "Confirmed," Aaron said. "Let's see who needs help." The ship turned smoothly, cutting through the quiet darkness. As it approached the planet, the signal became stronger but more distorted. The voice sounded terrified, like someone running from a monster. "Help us, they left us, please." Aaron felt his chest tighten. Who left them? And why? The ship entered the atmosphere. Dust storms covered the skies. Strange purple clouds floated above mountains. The land below looked broken, cracked, wounded. Large pieces of cities lay in ruins, as if something massive had crushed them long ago. Luma scanned the area. "Commander, this planet shows signs of an ancient attack. Energy signatures are extremely old, possibly thousands of years. But the life signs are recent." Aaron frowned. "Recent? How recent?" "Within hours." That made no sense. How could a species survive thousands of years after destruction, yet be calling for help only now? As the ship descended, Aaron saw abandoned alien buildings, shattered towers, and empty streets. It felt like a ghost world, silent, forgotten, waiting. Then the signal repeated again, louder this time. "Please, anyone, don't leave us. please come. Aaron's hands tightened around the controls. The ship landed on a cracked plain near the ruins of a fallen city. Dust rose around him. The air outside was cold and thin. Nothing moved. No wind. No animals. No machines. Luma displayed one last warning. Commander, I detect underground tunnels beneath this area. Life signs are very faint, but they are there. However, scans show something else. Aaron straightened. Something else. There's a large, unknown presence deep in the ground. Something huge. Something not moving but alive. A chill passed through Aaron's spine. And, Commander, it seems other alien species once tried to rescue whoever lives here. All attempts failed. This planet was not abandoned by accident. It was abandoned out of fear. Aaron looked at the dark ruined city around him. He whispered, Then why am I the only one who came? Luma responded softly, almost like a question she could not answer. Because no one else would. Only a human would choose to walk into this place. Aaron stepped toward the exit hatch. The metal door opened with a hiss. Cold air hit his face. The world outside stood silent, waiting for him. The voice echoed one last time through his communicator. Please, don't leave us, please. Aaron stepped out onto the dead planet. He was the only person who had answered their call. And whatever waited beneath this world was waiting for him now. Commander Aaron walked across the cracked ground, each step echoing in the empty silence. The ruins around him were enormous, far older than any human structure. Tall towers leaned like broken bones. Roads were split open. Strange alien symbols glowed faintly on shattered walls, pulsing with dying light, as if the planet still remembered the life it once had. But no wind moved. No sound rose. Even the dust seemed afraid to shift. Aaron scanned the area with his wrist device. Luma, confirm location of life signs. Her calm voice replied, Life signs detected beneath the surface, approximately 1,000 meters down. Very weak, very unstable. Multiple readings, possibly an entire group. Aaron took a slow breath. A group? Still alive? Yes, Commander, but fading quickly. He moved toward a massive fallen pillar. The ground around it vibrated slightly under his boots. Not from machines, not from movement. It felt like a heartbeat, slow, distant, hidden deep below. Something down there was alive. But it was not the weak, fragile species calling for help. Something else. Aaron continued forward. As he stepped over a broken walkway, his visor flash alerted. Movement detected. Aaron's pulse jumped. Luma, where? Behind you, Commander. Very small. Very fast. Aaron turned sharply, flashlight ready, but nothing was there. Empty dust. Broken metal. Long shadows. He took one step closer. Then he saw it. A small creature, no taller than his knee, hiding behind a cracked column. Its skin was pale, almost transparent, glowing faintly like soft crystal. Large, trembling eyes stared at him, eyes filled with fear and hope at the same time. Aaron whispered gently, Hey, it's okay. I'm here to help. The creature shook, terrified. It tried to speak, but only a high, trembling sound came out, like a tiny bell breaking. Its thin arms wrapped around its chest as if protecting something. Aaron crouched slowly. You sent the message? Before the creature could answer, the ground rumbled, deep, rolling, distant, like thunder under the earth. The creature panicked and rushed back into a narrow crack in the wall, disappearing into darkness. Luma, Aaron whispered. What was that? Seismic disturbance. But it is not natural. It is rhythmic. Pattern resembles breathing. Aaron's stomach tightened. Breathing? From where? From below the tunnels. From the same location as the unknown massive life form. Another rumble passed through the ground, stronger this time, shaking loose dust from high ruins. Aaron steadied himself. We're not alone on this planet. He moved deeper into the ruined city. The architecture was unlike anything in human history. Towers shaped like spirals, bridges made of metal vines, doorways carved with symbols of stars and moons. This species had once been advanced and peaceful, but everything was broken, As Aaron walked, he noticed something disturbing. Large claw marks scraped across buildings. Walls were crushed inward, enormous footprints, far larger than any known creature, pressed deeply into solid stone. Whatever lived underground had come up here once, and it had destroyed everything. Aaron reached an enormous crater at the center of the city. The edges burned as if touched by cosmic fire long ago. He activated a scan. Luma, any data on this site? Commander, this crater was formed by a direct attack. Energy signatures indicate a creature created it using pure physical force. Aaron blinked. A creature did this? Not a weapon? Yes. The force is similar to an impact from a living being. He stared at the crater. Something alive had struck the surface with the power of a meteor. That was impossible. Yet the evidence stood right before him. Aaron's communicator beeped suddenly. A weak voice whispered again. Please, please hurry. It wasn't the same creature he saw earlier. This voice was older, filled with exhaustion. Another member of the helpless species. Aaron followed the signal to a large collapsed tunnel entrance. Broken metal beams blocked the way. Strange glowing vines clung to the walls. A small device lay half buried in the dust. A transmitter, old and cracked. It repeated the message in a loop. Please, please. Aaron pushed aside debris, forcing open a narrow gap. Cold air poured out, carrying the smell of underground stone and something else, something rotten. Luma confirmed tunnel depth. 2 kilometers beneath the surface. Multiple branching paths. Life signs cluster in a central chamber. Aaron squeezed through the opening. His helmet flashlight flickered across the tunnel. Long claw marks ripped across the ceiling. Bones lay scattered, old alien bones, broken and crushed. Aaron whispered, These aren't the bones of the small creatures. No, Commander, Luma said. Analysis shows these remains belong to much larger species, possibly warriors. Aaron's heart beat faster, and they died running away from something. Aaron moved deeper. The air grew colder. The walls pulsed with faint blue light, like veins of a living body. The tunnel trembled again, slow, rhythmic breathing from below. The deeper he walked, the stronger the disturbing sensation became. Something ancient lived in this planet. Something every alien species feared. Something that made them leave this helpless race to die. And yet, the heartbeat under the ground wasn't the creatures. It was a faint heartbeat of the species that still survived, hidden, afraid, calling for help no one else would answer. Aaron stopped when he reached a wide chamber lit by dim, glowing stones. Dozens of small creatures watched him from the shadows. Their eyes widened as he stepped inside. One of them whispered weakly, Human? Aaron knelt. I heard your call. Another whisper rose. They all left us. Everyone. They said we were cursed. They said the darkness wakes when we live. Aaron looked around. The fear in their eyes was real, deep, ancient. The smallest one crawled forward. Will you leave us too? Before Aaron could answer, the ground erupted with a massive roar from deep below. So powerful the air shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. The creatures screamed softly. Luma warned urgently. Commander, warning. Something is rising from the lower levels. Aaron's eyes hardened. No, he wasn't leaving. Not now. Not ever. He stood between the helpless species and the darkness below as the next roar shook the earth again. The underground chamber shook as the roar echoed through the tunnels. Dust rained from above, and the faint light from the glowing stones flickered like dying stars. The small, fragile creatures, the Illyrians, huddled together in fear, their crystal-like skin trembling with every vibration. Their eyes kept drifting to the dark tunnel below, the one Aaron had not yet seen, the one that breathed. Commander Aaron stood firm, scanning the darkness with steady eyes. The roar had been deep, so deep it seemed to come from the bones of the planet itself. Only something enormous could make a sound like that. Something old. Something no one had ever wanted to face. One Illyrian, taller than the others but still smaller than a human, stepped forward. Its voice was soft but carried the weight of thousands of years. You should not be here, human. You should run while you still can. Aaron shook his head. Not happening. The Illyrian looked confused. But everyone else ran. Everyone abandoned us. Aaron knelt to speak at eye level. Not me. The Illyrians looked at one another, whispering in thin, trembling voices. For the first time, their fear mixed with something else, confusion, disbelief, maybe the smallest spark of hope. Aaron gently asked, "Who left you? What happened here?" The tall Illyrian closed its glowing eyes as if remembering a nightmare. A long time ago, we lived on the surface. We built great cities. We sang to the stars. Our people were peaceful. We had no enemies, no wars. Aaron listened closely. But one day, the Illyrian continued. The ground opened and the shadow beast rose. The air grew colder. We do not know where it came from. Maybe another world. Maybe another dimension. It was bigger than mountains. Its roar killed our warriors. Its claws broke our cities. It hunted us, and it would not stop. Another Illyrian added in a trembling voice. The other species promised to help. Giants, dragons, cyber warriors, all came at first. But when the beast rose again, they ran. They left us behind. They sealed the surface. They said we were cursed. Aaron clenched his jaw. So they trapped you underground? Yes, the tall Illyrian nodded. They said we must die with the curse, so the galaxy stays safe. Aaron felt anger rise in him. They abandoned you to save themselves. The Illyrian's voice cracked. Yes, everyone abandoned us, except you. A soft, trembling sound echoed through the chamber. One young Illyrian stepped forward, perhaps the same one Aaron saw near the ruins. Its eyes shined with faint hope. You came when no one else did. Aaron placed a hand over his heart. Because you asked for help. That's enough. The ground trembled again, stronger. Stones cracked along the walls. A deep rumbling breath rose from the tunnel below, slow and heavy like the sleeping lungs of a titan. The Illyrians panicked, backing away. It wakes! It smells us. It knows a stranger is here. Aaron raised his voice gently. Stay calm. I need information. How do I reach your main chamber? I need to understand your species' situation. The tall Illyrian pointed to a long, spiraling tunnel lit by faint glowing dust. Down that path. But the deeper you go, the closer you get to it. Aaron nodded. Then that's where I'm going. The Illyrians gasped. No, human. You cannot. It senses strength. Aaron glanced down the tunnel. It senses everything, he said firmly. And if it wakes, you need protection. A hush fell over the chamber. Illyrians stared at him, the way someone stares at a myth, a creature too impossible to exist. The small Illyrian tugged at his suit lightly. Why? Why do you help us? Aaron smiled a little. Because that's what humans do. Luma spoke softly into his helmet. Commander, your heart rate is rising. Danger level increasing. This creature below is not like anything in our database. It may be impossible to defeat. Aaron whispered under his breath. We'll see. He walked toward the spiral path. The Illyrians followed him with wide, fearful eyes. Their glowing skins dimmed as if the very idea of the tunnel drained life from them. As Aaron stepped inside the passage, the air turned even colder. The faint lights on the walls flickered. Strange markings covered the stone. Warnings, prayers, memories etched by those who once lived freely. For a moment, Aaron felt the weight of being the only person in the galaxy willing to walk into this darkness. The path twisted downward. Deep vibrations moved through the ground, slow and steady. Each one felt like a massive heartbeat. Then Aaron saw something that stopped him. Claw marks. Huge ones. Bigger than the ones on the surface. Deep enough to slice through metal. The tunnel walls were ripped open, as if something with monstrous strength dragged itself upward at incredible speed. The deeper he went, the stronger the smell of cold stone mixed with something ancient, a scent like old fire and dying air. Luma whispered, Commander, I detect a massive warm signature ahead. Something is alive. Something enormous. Aaron tightened his grip on his weapon. The tunnel ended at a gigantic cavern. The ceiling was lost in darkness. Strange glowing stones floated in the air like dead stars. Old broken machines lay in pieces. And at the far end, something gigantic rested in the shadows. Aaron stepped closer, and then he heard it. Not a roar, not a growl, a whisper, a giant whisper. Human! Aaron froze. The Illyrians had said the creature hunted them, that it destroyed entire cities, that it was a mindless beast. But this thing spoke, and it knew exactly who he was. The whisper came again, shaking the ground with quiet power. You are not like the others. The darkness shifted. Something enormous moved, a mountain of shadow peeling away from the cavern wall. Aaron's heart pounded. The creature was awake, and it was waiting for him. For a long moment, Commander Aaron did not move. The cavern was cold, massive, and silent except for the slow breathing of the creature hidden in the dark. The air felt heavy, thick, as if the shadows themselves pressed against his suit. Then the voice came again, deep, ancient, cold enough to freeze bone. Human, you walk where no one else dares. Aaron took a careful step forward. His flashlight beam stretched across the cavern floor, but refused to touch the creature, as if the darkness itself swallowed the light. Show yourself, Aaron said quietly. The shadows shifted again. A shape rose, bigger than anything Aaron had ever seen. A long body covered in layers of dark stone-like skin, claws the size of ships, eyes like dying stars glowing faint purple from deep inside the darkness. The ground trembled under its weight. Aaron tightened his grip on his weapon, but he knew it would never be enough. This wasn't a creature. This was a force of nature wearing the shape of a monster. The beast spoke again. You should have turned back like all the others. Aaron didn't blink. I heard a call for help, and I answered those. The creature's long head lowered slightly, enough to reveal more of its shape. Its jaws were wide and sharp like broken mountains, but its voice carried something more complicated than hunger, something like sorrow. They begged the giants to stay. The dragons, too. Even the machines tried once. A long pause, but all of them fled. They feared me. They feared what I am. Aaron swallowed. What are you? The beast's voice cracked with ancient anger. I am the guardian of depth, the last protector this world had. Aaron froze. Protector? But the Illyrians said you destroyed them. The cavern shook with a low growl. They lied to themselves. They lied to everyone. Aaron waited. The beast continued, voice slow, heavy with an old pain. Your eyes can see only their fear, but you do not see their curse. Aaron's eyes narrowed. Explain. The creature shifted again, and the darkness around it swirled like a living veil. These small ones, the Illyrians, are not harmless. They do not know what they are. But something inside them, something hidden, wakes horrors across the stars. Aaron frowned. They look peaceful, fragile. They can barely breathe the air down here. Yes, the beast said, they do not know. They do not understand. But when one of them reaches adulthood, a force awakens, a scream inside their soul, a pulse that tears open space itself. Aaron felt the hairs on his neck rise. Are you saying they cause destruction? The creature's voice grew colder. They attract it. Aaron's mind raced. Attract what? Me. The beast said simply, and others like me. It stepped forward, and for the first time Aaron saw one full eye, a deep swirling galaxy-like sphere glowing faintly. Not hateful, not evil, but filled with a duty that looked heavier than worlds. When their numbers grow, when they thrive, something calls to us. A hunger, a pull. We come, always, and their world falls. Aaron took a step back, stunned. That's why every species left them, he whispered. The beast nodded slowly. To protect themselves. To protect the galaxy. But you? Aaron whispered. You hunted them. The creature's voice dropped to a near whisper. No, I hunted the scream inside them. The force that grows. The tear in reality that forms inside their souls. If I do not destroy it, the universe suffers. Entire systems vanish. Stars fall dark. Aaron's heart pounded. And the Illyrians don't even know. They cannot feel it. They cannot see it. They only see death coming for them. Without reason, they think they are victims. But they carry a doom no one can escape. The cavern trembled again, but this time not from the beast. Luma's voice whispered in Aaron's helmet. "Commander!" Scanning the Illyrians, detecting unknown energy inside several of them unstable, growing, matching the creature's description. Aaron's stomach tightened. The small, gentle creatures, the ones who begged for help, were carrying something that could destroy worlds. But they didn't know, and they were still dying. Aaron looked at the beast. Why speak to me? Why not kill me like the others? The massive creature leaned down. Its voice was almost gentle now, almost curious. "Because you are human." Aaron blinked. "What does that have to do with anything? You do not flee. You do not abandon. You do not obey fear. You walk into darkness, even when you should not. And because of that, you may succeed where others failed." Aaron whispered, "Succeed in what?" The cavern fell silent. The beast answered slowly, "In saving them without damning the stars." Aaron's breath caught. "And if I fail?" The beast's pupils widened like a dying sun. "Then I will finish what I began, and no human courage will stop me." A heavy silence settled over the cavern. The weight of the entire world pressed onto Aaron's shoulders. He realized something terrifying. He was the only being in the galaxy willing to save the Illyrians, but also the only being who might be forced to destroy them. The small, fragile species that clung to him for hope and the ancient monster that hunted them for balance both needed him. The beast turned away slowly, its enormous body sliding back into the shadows. "Go, human. Learn the truth from their own mouths. Then decide." Aaron stood still, shaken. His mission had just changed. It was no longer just about saving a helpless species. It was about choosing between their survival or the safety of the universe. And he had no idea how to live with either choice. The sky above the alien city kept changing colors like a living storm, glowing red one moment and then fading to a deep violet the next. It was beautiful, but it was also a warning. Something powerful was waking up beneath the city, and Corvin knew it was connected to the old voices he had heard in the tunnels earlier. The alien girl, Lyra, walked beside him with fear in her eyes. She was trying to stay calm, trying to be brave, but her hands kept shaking whenever the ground trembled. Corvin noticed this but said nothing. He simply adjusted the broken metal plate he used as armor and kept scanning the huge, empty streets around them. Every building around them was damaged or cracked, as if something massive had pushed through the walls from inside. The city looked abandoned, but Corvin kept spotting strange marks on the ground, like claw scratches burned into the stone. Lyra recognized them instantly. Her people had feared these symbols for centuries. "These marks mean only one thing," Lyra whispered, her voice trembling like thin glass. "The Devourers were here." Corvin remembered the stories the old council had told him long ago. They said the Devourers were ancient beings, older than any known race. They consumed energy, planets, and even living species. They were the reason Lyra's world was destroyed. They were the reason nobody came to help her species anymore. Everyone feared them. Everyone ran from them. Everyone except one stubborn human from Earth. A deep vibration traveled to the ground again, stronger this time. It felt as if the entire city was breathing. Corvin crouched and pressed his hand against the cracked road. He felt a pulse, like a slow heartbeat coming from below. Something massive was waking up. "We should leave," Lyra whispered. "Please, Corvin. Nobody survives when Devourers rise." Corvin stood up and gave her a calm look. "You survived." Lyra stared at him, confused. Her breath caught in her throat. No one had ever said that to her before. She had always believed she was alive only because she ran fast enough, because she had well enough, because she was lucky. But Corvin's words made her wonder if maybe she wasn't weak. Maybe she was stronger than she realized. The heartbeat beneath the city suddenly grew faster, louder, like a giant waking from a long sleep. Cracks spread across the buildings, and a huge tower in the distance collapsed in a cloud of dust and sparks. Lyra grabbed Corvin's arm, her voice shaking. "They are coming." Corvin didn't run. He stared at the collapsing structure with narrowed eyes, analyzing the direction of the vibrations and the pattern of the energy pulses. Something wasn't right. The Devourers fed on everything, but here, they seemed trapped, angry, desperate. "Why would they stay underground?" he muttered. "Why haven't they moved to another city or planet?" Lyra swallowed hard. "Because something is holding them here." Corvin thought for a moment. Then everything clicked in his mind like clockwork gears locking into place. "Lyra," he said slowly, "your people, they didn't abandon you." She froze. "What do you mean?" Corvin pointed to the energy pulses rising from beneath the ground. "This is a containment shield, a massive one. It is old and damaged, but it's still active." Lyra's eyes widened. She knew her people were advanced, but she had never imagined they had created something powerful enough to trap devourers beneath an entire city. "They built this to protect you," Corvin continued. "They locked the devourers underground so the survivors could escape." Lyra covered her mouth with both hands, tears filling her eyes. For so long she believed everyone abandoned her species, that they left her people to die. But now she understood the truth. They fought until the end. They sacrificed everything. And she was alive because of that sacrifice. But Corvin wasn't finished. He pointed to cracks spreading across the shield lines visible on the street. "The shield is failing. When it breaks, those things will escape." A thunderous roar echoed from beneath the city, so loud the air itself seemed to tear apart. The ground heaved upward like something massive was pushing against the surface. Lyra stumbled back. Terror flooded her face. "Corvin, we must run." And then something unbelievable happened. Corvin stepped forward, placing himself between Lyra and the swelling cracks. He lifted his battered spear and pointed it at the rising darkness below. "I don't abandon helpless species," he said quietly, his voice steady and fearless. Another roar exploded from below, shaking the sky. Something enormous was climbing upward, breaking through the earth piece by piece. Yet Corvin did not move. He didn't run, didn't hide, didn't panic. He stood like an unbreakable wall, because he was human, and humans didn't run when someone needed help, especially him. What rose from the ground next would decide the fate of an entire species, and Corvin knew there was no turning back now. Part 6 will reveal what emerges from beneath the city, and why the Devourers fear a single human. The ground beneath Corvin's feet cracked open like a giant mouth. A massive shockwave burst upward, throwing dust and glowing debris into the air. Lyra covered her ears as a deafening roar shook the entire city. It felt like the world itself was crying out in fear. A huge claw the size of a transport vehicle pushed through the ground. Its surface looked like molten stone mixed with dark metal, glowing with lava veins. Another claw followed. Then a monstrous head rose slowly from the darkness. Its eyes burned with a cold hunger. Its mouth filled with rows of jagged teeth that vibrated like blades. This was no simple creature. This was a devourer prime, the first and most terrifying form of the ancient species. Lyra collapsed backward, tears falling from her eyes. "Corvin, this is the strongest of their kind. We need to run, please." Corvin stood firm, his clothes torn, his spear shaking from the pressure waves rolling through the air. But his eyes never left the monster. He watched every movement, every flicker of energy around the creature. While Lyra saw a nightmare, Corvin saw a pattern. The monster was powerful, but it was weak in one place. Its movements were slow, unstable, like something was holding it back. Its claws scraped against invisible barriers before fully pushing through. "The shield is still active," Corvin murmured. "It's trying to break free, but something is slowing it down." Suddenly, the Devourer Prime slammed its claw onto the ground, releasing a shockwave that blew apart half the street. The energy shield flickered, sparks flying like lightning around the monster's body. Lyra screamed as a piece of debris shot toward her. Corvin moved faster than thought. He grabbed her and rolled aside just as a boulder crashed where she had been sitting. Dust fell on them like dirty snow. Lyra clutched his arm, breathing fast. "Why are you doing this, Corvin? You should have left me. You should have saved yourself." Corvin gave her a small smile, despite the monster towering above them. "Humans don't leave people behind." A violent energy pulse erupted from the Devourer Prime's chest. The ground cracked open further, revealing the giant's full body rising out. Dark wings made of pure energy unfolded behind it, casting shadows over the entire city. Its roar shook the sky again, cracks forming in the clouds themselves. Lyra's voice trembled. "Corvin, it's too strong. Nobody can fight this, not even your people." Corvin stepped closer to the monster, his eyes narrowing. He watched how the creature moved, how its energy shifted, how its body tensed each time the shield pulsed. He was not thinking about power. He was thinking about weaknesses. "Every creature has a fear," Corvin whispered. even devourers. The monster noticed them at last. It turned its massive head slowly toward them. Its burning blue eyes locked onto Corvin. A deep rumble echoed from its chest, something between curiosity and hunger. Lyra grabbed Corvin's sleeve, pulling him back. "Please, it sees us." Corvin didn't move. Instead, he took one brave step forward. Lyra froze in shock. The Devourer Prime lowered its head, bringing its massive eyes level with the tiny human who dared to stand in front of it. The air grew cold. Energy crackled. Even the shadows seemed to hold their breath. And then the monster whispered, its voice shaking every building around them. "Human!" Lyra gasped. Devourers never spoke to anyone. They only consumed. They never questioned, never acknowledged. But this one looked at Corvin with something almost like recognition. "You carry the echo," it growled, "the memory of the old ones." Corvin frowned. "What are you talking about?" The monster leaned closer, its breath scorching the stones. "You do not fear us," it hissed. "Your kind never feared us." Lyra's eyes widened. She had heard ancient legends of the earliest humans who traveled the stars. They were explorers, warriors, and survivors, but nobody believed they ever encountered a devourer species. Yet this creature seemed certain. It remembered humans. It remembered something terrifying about them. The Devourer Prime rose higher, its voice dropping to a low, trembling growl. "The last time we saw your kind, they created something that could destroy even us." Corvin blinked, surprised. "Humans did what?" But before the monster could continue, a massive surge of energy erupted beneath it. The ground glowed bright blue as ancient runes activated across the city's surface. The containment shield was trying to suppress the creature again. The Devourer Prime roared in pain and fury, throwing its wings outward. The blast shattered windows across the city. Lyra covered her ears, crying, "Corvin, it's breaking free. Nothing can stop it now." But Corvin saw something else. Something hidden beneath the cracks. A huge circular chamber glowing beneath the streets, filled with symbols, machinery, and a single massive power core, a forgotten machine built by Lyra's ancestors. A weapon, a key, a last hope, and Corvin knew exactly what he needed to do. "Lyra," he said softly, helping her stand, "your people didn't leave your species. They left you a weapon to save it." The Devourer Prime lifted its claws for a killing blow, its roar tearing across the sky. Corvin grabbed Lyra's hand and pulled her toward the glowing underground chamber. "We're going to activate it," he said, "before that thing destroys everything." The final roar echoed behind them. The monster was coming, and time was running out. Corvin and Lyra ran through the broken streets as the Devourer Prime tore the city apart behind them. Every step shook the ground. Every breath burned their lungs. The air was filled with dust, raw energy, and the echo of the monster's endless roar. The glowing cracks beneath the streets widened, forming a symbol that led straight to the underground chamber. It felt as if the entire planet was guiding them, begging them, screaming at them to hurry. Lyra stumbled as another shockwave struck, sending chunks of stone crashing down around them. Corvin grabbed her wrist before she fell, pulling her close. She could feel his heartbeat steady and strong, even when the world around them was falling apart. "How do you stay so calm?" she whispered breathlessly. Corvin looked ahead at the growing blue light beneath the ground. "Because fear won't save anyone," he said, "but action might." The entrance of the chamber appeared at last, a massive circular platform glowing with ancient symbols. Lyra's eyes widened as the floor panels began shifting, sliding open like petals of metallic flower, revealing a deep spiral staircase leading into the ancient heart of the city. Corvin pushed her gently. "Go, I'll follow." The moment they stepped inside, a wave of cold air brushed over them like a memory. The chamber was huge, carved with alien runes that shimmered faintly as if waking from centuries of sleep. Runes floated in the air like wisps of blue fire, casting eerie light on the machinery below. At the center stood a gigantic crystalline core, suspended in midair by thick energy pillars. It pulsed with slow, heavy beats, the same heartbeat Corvin had felt beneath the city earlier. "This was built by your ancestors," Corvin said quietly, "a containment engine mixed with a defensive weapon." Lyra stepped closer, all shining in her eyes. "But how do we activate it?" Corvin studied the runes, tracing them with his fingers. The moment he touched them, the entire chamber responded. The core pulsed faster, the air trembled, and ancient holograms flickered into existence around them. Images of Lyra's people appeared, old and wise, standing before the very same core. Their voices echoed through the chamber, full of warning and hope. To save our young, to protect our legacy, we bind the devourers beneath our cities, the hologram declared. But if the seal breaks, a guardian must rise, a being without fear, a being with a heart that cannot be consumed. Lyra stared in disbelief. A guardian. Corvin looked confused, but the hologram continued. Only one without ancestry here, one not born of our world, one who can carry the echo of the old ones. And then the hologram turned its glowing gaze directly toward Corvin. Lyra gasped, "Corvin, it's speaking about you." Corvin shook his head, but he felt something heavy settle inside him. A strange recognition, a connection older than he could explain. Above them, the Devourer Prime roared again, its claws slamming into the streets with explosive force. The sound echoed into the chamber, dust falling from the ceiling. Corvin took a deep breath. "Lyra, your people didn't create this weapon for themselves," he said. "They made it for the one species who would come here one day." "For humans," Lyra whispered, shocked. Corvin placed both hands on the glowing control platform. The runes lit up instantly, recognizing something inside him, his courage, his determination, his refusal to run. Energy flowed through him like fire, painful yet powerful. The core awakened fully, sending bright beams of blue light shooting across the chamber. Lyra covered her eyes. "Corvin, what's happening?" Corvin gritted his teeth, forcing himself to stay standing. "I'm unlocking the weapon." Above them, the Devourer Prime burst into the chamber entrance, ripping stone and steel apart. Its burning eyes widened when it saw the glowing core. "No!" the monster growled. "Not again." Corvin faced it, his body glowed with the energy of the core. "You said humans created something that could destroy you," he said. "Looks like you were right." The Devourer lunged toward him, faster than anything Lyra had ever seen. But the moment it moved, the core unleashed a massive surge of energy, forming a swirling vortex of blue light. Pieces of the chamber lifted into the air, floating like feathers in a storm. Lyra held onto the railing, watching in terror as the monster struggled against the overwhelming force pulling it in. Corvin's voice echoed through the chamber, louder than the roars. "You devour worlds," he said, "but not this one." The vortex grew brighter and brighter. The Devourer Prime screamed, its body dissolving into pure energy, sucked into core as it thrashed helplessly. The entire world trembled as the creature disappeared in a final blinding flash. The vortex collapsed, the core dimmed, and silence filled the chamber like a soft blanket. Lyra fell to her knees, tears in her eyes. "Corvin," she whispered, "where are you?" Smoke and energy fog swirled through the chamber, and then Corvin stepped forward slowly, exhausted, bruised, barely able to stand, but alive. Lyra ran to him and caught him before he fell, her arms shaking as she held on to him. "You did it," she whispered. "You saved us." Corvin gave her a weak smile. "No," he said, "we saved your species together." The chamber light softened. The runes faded into peaceful glows. The devourer threat was gone. The city calmed for the first time in centuries. Lyra rested her head against him, tears falling silently. "Everyone abandoned us," she said softly, "but one human saved us." Corvin closed his eyes, resting against her. "That's what humans do," he whispered. "We don't run." And in that ruined city, under a sky slowly repairing itself, an entire species found hope again, because one human refused to abandon them.